I'm Alicia Cooper with Fat Stripper.
Yeah.
I'm the writer, director, producer, and star of Fat Stripper.
Independent filmmaker. That's independent filmmaker. So, Alicia, you and I, we worked together in the past. Alicia Cooper is a national comedian. So she's been on the United Nations Comedy Tour that I created in 2002, and we worked together in that capacity. And when I saw her at Sundance about, was it 2 years or 3 years? No, it was 3 year ago.
3 years ago.
Before they shut down, so 2019. I knew she was making some films, or started making films, but I didn't know to what level and what capacity that she was doing. I knew she was working in the industry, and she was like, "Hey, I got this film, but she had multiple films, and she ended up shooting those in the two of them in the during the crisis,
Right.
the pandemic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So tell me, what how was the transition from national comedy to filmmaking? Like, could you explain that to us?
Well, for me, I started getting bored with comedy, so I needed a new challenge.
Okay.
And I've always directed, but never narratives. I've been directing behind the scenes on talk shows and things like that. So this was a new challenge, and that's why I really want to. Also, when you're a comic, the laughs is immediately. Even if you're gonna get them right away, or you're not gonna get them right away. But with filmmaking, you have to go and see if people are laughing at what you put out. It's a longer turnaround to find out if it's working or not. So I just wanted another challenge, and it is challenging.
I have one question about that. Did you actually lose the weight? I mean, you were working very hard on that.
I lost 3 pounds.
Exactly. And she wrote about it. Khalilah, I'll let you ask a question.
Okay, so I'm gonna come in hot. Just bear with me for a second. I want to know, what are your thoughts on this narrative that Black women are ghetto when it's lauded or praised when other people may do some of the same things and it's considered progressive? For example, Hustlers or Striptease. Those were movies that portrayed strippers or exotic dancers. Especially when the statistics show that Black women are the most educated and the fastest growing demographic when it comes to small businesses, especially after the pandemic. And this is all while a lot of times you're being raised in areas where there's redlining, and so people are in communities where there's low literacy rates and things like that. And they made it out anyway. They move fast, they move forward, they move fabulously, and they thrive. My question for you is, what do you have to say to people who feel like when Black women do these things, it's ghetto or it's not professional or whatnot? How do you feel about that, and what do you say to those people?
You are coming. That hasn't been my experience. Fortunately for me, maybe because it's a comedy. I haven't had any issues at all in that arena. I think that it just depends on what it is, or the way you're going about getting the product done. Like, P-Valley, which is a show that I really enjoyed. P-Valley is getting rave reviews, because the storylines are so multi-dimensional and the show is so well done, and there's definitely going to be times where you're going to be compared to other things and a lot of unfair comparisons, but I just think all we can do is just keep putting our best foot forward and letting the chips fall where they may.
Yes, ma'am.
You shot this during COVID.
Right.
Early on during COVID. I shot my film in February 21, which was it was a new variant that came out right before that. Mm-hmm. So I was still stuck in COVID, but it cost me more money to produce it, because I put people in a bubble in the hotel. My hotel expense was about $4,000 to $5,000 just for the hotel. Mm-hmm. But also I was able to get filming locations because they were closed. So that helped me too. So I took the good with the bad, because I used a corporate house for days. Yeah. So what were the challenges filming during COVID, and how did you cast it?
Well, actually, for me, because it was COVID, I was able to get a lot of people to come out because we were just bored and had cabin fever. So I got a lot of people to come out and cut their rates. Like you said, I got, the strip club was empty, so they gave me a good rate on the strip club. We did it in 2 days. So the first day we did the strip club, and the second day we did the other scenes. And I was just fortunate, you know, and I knew, because I was financing it myself, I was like, I'm gonna have to be the lead character, because one, that keeps me from having to pay somebody else, and two, there's one less body on the set, you know. So we individually packaged everything when it came to meals and things like that, and we were COVID compliant, we were 6 feet apart, everything was, you know, we really paid attention. Everybody had the COVID test less than 48 hours prior to us starting to shoot. Just all the things that can keep people's stress level down, and, you know, because in the beginning of COVID, everybody was worried. Nobody wanted to catch it. There was no vaccine available. So, but we got it done in 2 days, and that's what happened. Like you said, I was able to get stuff at a better rate.
Yeah, so you was a director and starring in it, so it had to be complicated for you to bounce from, because you had to see what's going on in the monitor. So every cut, you had to go to the monitor to replay it?
Pretty much, yeah, because, you know, you don't want to get home and not have something that you need.
Yeah.
But for me, I didn't even think this thing fully out, because you can't be in front of the monitor and behind the monitor at the same time. So I got to say action and then jump back in the gun and then jump back behind the monitor. And I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
I was like, this is stressful. So, but you know, you just had to get it done. You had to get it done. And also I had a great team behind me. A lot of the people working behind me have long resumes in Hollywood.
Right,
So that
right.
helped me too.
That's one of the questions I was gonna ask you.
Yeah.
But you definitely had to go from Sweet Cheeks to Alicia Cooper, back to Sweet Cheeks. That's confusing.
Oh,
So
man.
did you get confused where you was thinking in real life that you wanted to start stripping?
No, I was never that confused.
Oh man, but that's good. You know, with you shooting, and you shot everything in LA or outside of LA?
In LA.
In LA.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. That's good.
Okay, so my question is, what was your experience with working as a person living at that sweet spot of intersectionality with being a woman and being Black in a male-dominated industry?
As far as directing movies, what was it like? You know, it's a challenge to get the jobs that you want to get, but I feel like once you get the first, like I'm trying to get my first episode of episodic television, so I feel like once you get the first one, you've broken through a little bit more, and then you just have to keep going from there. And that's just difficult across the board, is to get that first episode of television. But you can see, you know, the statistics each year of how the episodes are breaking down, and each year they're getting a little better as far as the stats goes. And I have a lot of friends now who are directing and getting breaks. So what you have to do is you have to try to shadow them on set. You know, so I've been shadowing a lot of the television directors. One thing, it lets you meet the cast and meet the higher ups and meet the executives, and you want them to be familiar with you and feel comfortable giving you that episode, because that episode costs a couple $1 million. So you just have to keep going. It's not going to be easy. And I have 3 short films. 2 of them I financed myself, and the reason I did it that way is because you need a reel. So if you have a director's reel and you're competing in these programs, you can't compete with 1 project. So you have to have at least 3, because everybody else has at least 3 to make a reel. And then, so I've been lucky. I've been getting into programs and things like that based off my reel, and it's just a process. And no 2 people get in the same way.
Right.
Have you experienced the most recent experience as a result of the Me Too movement and the spotlight being on Hollywood and these companies who are, you know, just have foul practices? Have you seen your other friends get more opportunities since then? Or,
Oh yeah.
Since then?
Yeah. With everybody wanting to be more inclusive, the more boxes you check, the better. If you can be a gay, handicapped, you know, Black, plus size, 1 leg, deaf in 1 ear, you're gonna check 9 boxes. So the more boxes you can check, the better it is for you. So figure out some other things.
That's real though. And we want you to be real, because we want to know what's going on in Hollywood, and we appreciate that. Yeah.
I want to ask you both, what would you do differently if you had it to do all over this particular project, if you had anything that you could do, if you were going to do it again, what would you do differently?
And after this, we're gonna open up to the audience for questions as well.
Well, I can't think of anything at the moment.
Yeah, I just feel like everything fell in place the way it was supposed. I was telling Ty in an interview that I had a different guy who played the gay bartender. And he was a Hispanic guy, and he had won an NBC program, and my friend Isaac, who was the one who came, and was like, oh, and started roasting me. He referred this guy, he was supposed to be on set an hour, going in the hair and makeup, and Isaac tells me, I called him. I was like, where is he? Why is he not here? And he was like, I don't know. I called him and the phone just rings. And I said, I called him, left a message. Long story short, he was drunk from the night before and was not going to make it. So I said, well, I came with a guy named Chip, and Chip's an actor too. And that's how the black guy got the role. And he was saying,
You did great.
He did great. The lines were in Spanish, like homo estás. Hispanic guy. So I'm worried. And, another hat I'm wearing. I'm supposed to be focusing on my stuff, and I'm worried about this guy who's not showing up and how I'm going to recast him at the last second. I give Chip the sides. I'm like, can you memorize this? He went off to the side, and in 20 minutes he had it. He created a character. He put a little bandana around his head, and a little bow around his neck, and he had no shirt on. I said, oh, Chip is ready. So I couldn't have foreseen that, but I actually think I probably liked him better than the guy that was going to get the role.
You get lucky like that sometimes.
You get lucky like that sometimes. So that's the only thing, which is something that was unpredictable, that I learned on the set. You have to be able to roll. It's one of those things where you have to call an audible right then and there and keep it moving, because there's always going to be something unexpected that happens the day of.
Yeah.
And but as far as doing anything differently, I can't really think of anything like that, because we had a pretty good experience on set.
Do we have any aspiring filmmakers in the room tonight? Aspiring filmmakers? Okay, good. Okay. All right.
Smart people.
Put your money into your homes and buy equity and buy some stuff.
It sounds like people with jobs and benefits.
So let's open up to the audience, though. Let's open up to the audience. And people who leaving, can you please put your ballots in the box for me in the lobby? Thank you. Okay, you.
Yeah, question, Alicia?
Yeah.
Question for Alicia. So I'm interested, like the concept of fat strippers, so interesting. Like I feel like stripping or sex work is often like devalued, or sex workers are degraded, and especially like that sort of, the moderator was talking about the intersectionality, and I think it's like being black, being a woman, but also like in the scene, this fat stripper also being a fat woman, also being a stripper. And so I'm wondering what made you sort of put the focus on this fat stripper? What was the thought behind that? What was the inspiration?
I think the inspiration was, one, we were in a pandemic, so I'm thinking about stuff that could happen to someone in a pandemic when they're desperate enough to need money. So, so the tagline on the poster was, she's not fat, she's desperate. And also,
See you, Beatrice.
Also, plus size women are coming into the forefront. Like I said about Lizzo and all that stuff, fat acceptance, body positivity, all that stuff is happening right now. And I actually spoke to Lizzo. I was at a Dave Chappelle concert backstage, and Lizzo was there. And so I got to talk to her, and I told her about the idea. I said, I really wrote this for you as a feature, but I don't have enough money to shoot it. I said, but I would love you to play the lead character and Queen Latifah to play your mother. And she was like, oh, well, get it to me. She was just so cool. So I wanted it to be a feature, and I wanted it to be, about something more, like how 9 to 5 was about so much more.
Right.
It was about what was happening at that time for women in the workplace. I wanted it to be like today's plus size equivalent of 9 to 5. So where it's a movie with a message.
Right.
So, but as far as the short film aspect of it, I felt like it could be funny, and it morphed into a romantic comedy as I was doing the rewrites. Because when you write something, you want to do at least 9 rewrites. Because it just takes so much more to get it right. Like I can always tell when somebody's shooting like their second or third draft. You watch them, you're like, yeah, y'all need to keep writing. So it morphed into a romantic comedy over time.
Talking about me?
No, you got it, Ty got it. So, but yeah, so that's what happened. Just like you said, I wanted to do the intersectionality of race, weight, gender, everything, and just bring it all together in a comedic way.
So, I don't know if you've written a comedy before, but yours was really funny. It laughed you out.
Thank you.
It's hard to write comedy because it's about timing and, you know, you don't have to think your jokes are funny.
Yeah.
What inspired you to be like, you know, to write comedy, or have you always done comedy? Like,
Yeah, I've been a stand-up comic for 22
oh,
years.
well, there we go. Okay.
So yeah, so that's why I met Ty. So I've been touring, I've been overseas for the troops, and writing comedy is something I actually enjoy doing. And as the director, you can see if something's not working on set and then go off to the side and rewrite it there and come back, you know. So you get, the process is not done for a long time. It's not even done when you're editing, because you can still make changes in the edit session that you hadn't foreseen. So that's what I like about the process, is constantly, you know, you're constantly improving it until the last second.
Was this your first comedy you wrote?
First comedy, yes.
Because your timing was great.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And she's, and I think I said it earlier, but Alicia is no stranger to Charlottesville, because I brought her here one time before, so she's no stranger to Charlottesville. Anyone else? Oh, okay, let's get the lady way in the back.
I would like to know how I can share each of your films with my friends, because I love them both, and I would like to rewatch both of them again and share them with others, so can you please let us know that information?
Yes, we'll get it to Ty
Yeah.
for you.
All right, so yeah, you have my information. How did you buy tickets? You bought tickets online?
Yes.
I'm gonna email everyone anyway to spam you for the next one. All right. How about you?
Yeah. It's for both of you, actually, but Alicia, you first. As a stand-up comic, I know sometimes comedy is self-deprecating, and you make fun of your race, your gender. By the way, you could add on 15 pounds, and you never, whatever. But you self-deprecate as a comedian oftentimes. But then you also sometimes cross the line over and go, I'm gonna make fun of somebody who's not like me. And I found your film humorous, but it was soulful. It hit hard.
Oh, thank
because
you.
somebody was caught in the situation that you were describing. What am I gonna do next? How do I get through this? So I really appreciate that. But as the comedian, it really came through to me that you were going, I'll be self-deprecating here. Come on, the fat stripper. I just applaud you for taking that approach to it.
Well, thank you.
I want to ask you, when you write, do you know your ending, and do you write to that ending? Because when I write, I know my ending, I know my beginning, and I'm just kind of filling up the middle. It's like a journey for me to arrive to that destination. What's your approach to writing?
Yeah, I do it. I start with an outline, you know, so I'll outline my beginning, middle, and end.
Okay.
And then I'll go back and I start filling in the beats. So yeah, I try to know my ending. You know, not like to the
flexible.
lines,
Yeah,
but I want to
flexible,
know
yeah.
how I think it's going to end.
Yeah, right, exactly. Okay. Got two, there you go.
Me?
Yes.
So my question is an offshoot of your question. I was curious if that final scene in the bed, was that always written in, or was that something that you came up with? Because I want to say that was brilliant. And I loved, like he was saying, I loved that in that final scene, you sort of took all the power away from everybody that could ever say any of those things to you by making it so loving. There was such warmth and humor in that, and I think it just took power away from people who may have said those things to you. But anyways, was that part of the script originally?
No, it was not. What happened was, I didn't wanna just do a regular credit bid. So I wanted to still have some entertainment at the same time as the credit bid was rolling. And I believe that you can't take yourself too seriously. And at the time when we shot that, there was a thing going around called "It's the blah blah for me."
Yeah.
So that's how we do that. I would say, and I had him watch it, because I think it was on Instagram or TikTok or something. And I said, I need you to watch this, and then we're gonna improv. So that's what he and I did. We improv the "It's the blah blah for me," and that was just meant to go over the end credits. And we did it on the fly.
It was really good.
And the gentleman, he's popular, right? What does he do? Cause I see him on something.
No, he wasn't really. He's like every tall, bald, black man in the fifties.
So that's why I saw him. He's so familiar.
Yeah, he was getting a break.
He remind me of me. He's like, he's so familiar. Like,
Yeah.
look at you. Maybe I do an extra question. I know the fact that you guys are interested in sticking around this late. So people be leaving by now, so I really appreciate you guys.
Question for both filmmakers. How much time in the editing room? Hours?
It's a lot of hours, because you keep going back over days, you know, so I would say probably minimum 40. And then you have to go over to the sound sweetener, sound guy.
Okay.
So that's another 10. So it's a lot.
That's a lot of time.
Oh, you know what, Tom, something I just thought about too.
Sure.
With the beauty of social media, what I did for my film, because the different music that was used, a lot of that was original music. So I put the flyer up and I said, I'm looking for some music that I can use for free, that can be cleared, that goes with a comedy called Fat Stripper. And the submissions that I got, these people were so good. These artists, it's just a matter of time before they blow up, really. And they donated their music to me. And that helped with the
That's a
with the
good idea.
soundtrack.
I'm doing that next time.
Yeah, you got to, and people want their name in the credits, and they can say, I've contributed music to this film and that film, and it just works out for all parties involved.
That's a good idea. I use all original music, so I have someone come in and actually write the music and and everything. Thank you guys for coming. We really appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having us.